Excellent. So hello and welcome. My name is Dr. Rizwan Qureshi, and I'm joined here by Dr. Laura Salado Vega and Dr. Kirti Jakarta, two of our very valuable contributors and course directors. And today's session is obviously one of the important session at the beginning of every course. And the reason I say important because we're going to cover a very specific and very focused point in this 1 hour or 1.5 hours, depending on how Laura and you guys have got courage to keep on engaged and glued on. I've prepared my segment in which I'd be briefly talking about, and I've made some points. I have deliberately not made slide, despite the fact that I have time. Don't say that I didn't have. I did have time, but I did not make slide because I wanted everybody to interact with me. So I'm going to talk about the course first, because I think this is something important that we need to highlight ourselves as some sort of a distinction in this segment. I'm also going to highlight why this course is important, or why MCQ is important for that matter. AMC MCQ, that is. Why is it important for you, that is, more than anything else? And then we'll talk about the nitty-gritty of the course in terms of resources. I'll keep on adding as the people are coming, or Laura, you can keep on adding as well. In terms of resources, in terms of tuition, in terms of tests, in terms of video access, the portal, the lot. And then Dr. Laura will come in and tell us about her 4 or 5 tips, which I really am looking forward to it. Dr. Kirti may have something to add on or critique us. So I'm more than open to that. So look, without further ado and wasting much time, I'll get into my business. So look, welcome again, all of you who've joined in via Zoom. We are recording this session. So if you miss out on anything, please jump on our Facebook page and on our YouTube emergency focus page. You'll have an access to this video and you can access this, review it. And if there's any questions, you can always drop a question down to comment section. I did go at least 1 hour to reply to all comments from all my YouTube videos because there were quite a lot of them. Or simply just send an email to info@emergencyfocus.net. That is something of a system. I've got the system of replying every email, even if it's a single liner, and I'll reply to all your queries and questions. But nevertheless, please be mindful that all of the information is already available on our website, which is www.emergencyfocus.net. All right, so why is AMC course important? I'm going to ask you that. Edward, what do you think? Why is AMC course important for you, my friend? Or AMC MCQ is important for you?
Hello. It's important for me because I want to homologate my title and work in Australia.
Okay.
Yeah, it's my goal for my short or middle time objective.
Absolutely. So it's a short time goal for you to get yourself a job. And how true is that? Most of the doctors who are here on this forum or on this platform at least would agree to the fact that AMC AMCQ course is perhaps one of the only courses in which after passing AMC part 1, you can directly apply for the job. And you've got a living example in front of you, Dr. Laura Salado. She's actually passed the MCQ1 and she's working very hard these days.
Oh my God, don't tell me.
So yes, it is one of those courses in one of the key stepping stone in which you can get yourself a job and apply for APRA registration. And the reason I like this exam, AMC MCQ exam, is because it's based on final year subjects, which is, clinical medicine, surgery, pediatrics, obs and gynae, mental health, or any other subject for that matter, which we'll go in detail. And you can relate to your practical work and examples that you're actually practicing on the floor and learn as you go along in your house job, in your RMO ship, or even if you're a senior doctor, you can just completely go and learn those things through this course or through these materials and resources of AMC MCQ and attempt this exam. The other thing I wanted to highlight, the course curriculum as such, not the course, but like it's more like I wanted to highlight is the component of the exams are such that it readily prepares you of what you see in terms of clinical pathology on the floor. Like, don't get me wrong, AMC clinical is also very important, but in terms of breadth of your knowledge, AMC MCQ sort of covers that component. All the pathologies that you see, all the skills that you need to have are covered in AMC MCQ exam curriculum. Those essential factors in pediatrics, emergency medicine, cardiology, obs and gynae, respiratory medicine, everything's covered through it. That's why we have literally landmined our course with workshops like ECG workshops, radiology workshops, and all those other skills that you need to pass this exam, but also to enable you to be more efficient on the floor. The other thing is that when you're doing our course, last time we had, and we stopped the registration, Laura. I think we were hoping to get only 5 or
Yeah.
10, and then the demand was such that we had to stop our registration. I think we stopped at 17.
Yes.
17 participants.
And we didn't want to get more because it's not how we function.
No,
So we actually wanted small numbers.
So we keep our course group small, and I think we're already 50%, 60% full for the next one coming up in March. So we'd like to keep it close. And the reason I'd like to keep it close, and Laura like to keep it close as well, is that we'd like to develop that personal relationship with you. We want to be a part of this journey. I think you will agree when you come to the course, and once you join the course and carry on, you'll form this bond which will stay with you in your professional development career in Australia. Like, we're just not here for the course and, do the course and bye-bye. No, it's not like that. We'd like to carry on and see you build up. If you need any further advice in terms of career counseling, and if you need to be in part of the clinicals and whatever it is, like, I think
Dr. Rizwan, if I might add, we got Dr. Singh and Dr. Mujib here. They are actually in our course, studying with us. So I think they can actually tell us if that's right. If I'm not there every single day asking you questions, just tell us about that. Is it close enough?
Yeah, actually, it's like very good course. We are getting what we need to do. Like, for example, my exam is on 15th of March, and I'm quite confident of clearing the exam, hopefully. And it's very, actually, Dr. Laura put a lot of effort to, like, make us more confident about attempting the questions and marking the correct answers, because there are a lot of tricks which we only can learn from this course. Because if you study only, then we don't get the things which we need from the course. So it's good to join this course. I will highly recommend to join this course to everyone.
Oh, thank you so much.
No, I completely second you on that one, on Randhir, that the amount of efforts that she's put in. Now, I've only faced the tip of the iceberg through our meetings in terms of checking up on progress on each front. She has just been phenomenal. Let me just say that.
Thank you.
So we've covered the point that this is the only exam that you need in terms of getting a job here in Australia, or at least get the ball rolling. We want you to come in groups and small numbers so we can build that relationship with you in terms of helping you get your first job through our other avenues in terms of career counseling, medical application, and CV. And we've got whole new front of avenues opening up in the next coming months. We also want to, and Dr. Laura would be able to explain it a bit more detail in terms of the course layout and structure. But I just wanted to highlight in terms of resources, that the resources which have pooled into this course from our first course are just enormous. And they're here to stay and always will be improving. So you'll have an access to the portal, and that portal will have all the reading material before coming to the class. So that's our tier 1 learning. Tier 2 learning is when you do those interactive sessions with Dr. Laura or all of the rest of the tutors. When you're getting quizzed, when you're doing those MCQs, when you're getting the explanation around those MCQs, those nitty-gritty of academic details that I told you are required for not just passing the exam, but also to be able to function as a safe doctor on the floor. The other thing which I wanted to highlight is that I am just surprised at how Laura was able to get you all to switch on your cameras, because I think this is something which is undeniably parallel to your good performance. If you keep your cameras on, trust me, you are already a winner. And this is exactly the same thing which I need to learn from Laura about our AMC clinical, that if you keep your cameras on, you're actually making a very, very conscious attempt of putting yourself out there, of interacting. And we learn from your, feedbacks in terms of facial feedback, in terms of your expressions, in terms of how you're responding. And honestly, I don't mind who's in the background. I'm sure it goes for the Laura as well. You can blur your background. It doesn't really matter. You can mute yourself, but just by seeing you, it just adds so much value. So yes, keeping the camera on. And the last thing, the way that she's able to, I use the word landmine, the MCQs throughout the course. And we were having a lot of discussion initially that, look, we should have the MCQ course at the end. And Laura came up with a very good idea that, look, why don't we do it in the middle of the course and we can give them a feedback. And that's a very good positive reinforcement and feedback that we get from you that, look, these guys need these areas which need to be highlighted. They need to be more emphasized. And that's been also very good learning curve, I guess, for both of us. And finally, look, if there's anything, and we know all, we understand that you're all busy and you cannot attend 100% of the lecture, even though I think the attendance has been some sort of phenomenal attendance.
Yeah.
What do you think, Laura?
They've been fantastic actually throughout the course. Almost all of the students were attending the live sessions. Now at the end, they are a little bit more overwhelmed with the ending of the course, but it's been awesome. Like they are fantastic. Our students are really good. What can I say?
Amazing. Amazing. So I think from that point of view, the other thing to mindful is that, as Randhir was saying, that his exam's quite close, and I think he may have extracted all that knowledge and skills, and he's probably more emphasizing some of the, some of his last minute summaries and last few weeks just getting into the zone of exam, and that's completely reasonable. But you will have access to all the videos that we are conducting on your portal. So there is no way you'd be at disadvantage, but I think you'd be a disadvantage, and let me be very clear on that, if you're just relying on videos. Trust me, it is far more easy for me to make a video course in my spare time through my studio and just put it out there. It does not take any effort. I can charge subscription and it'll sell like hotcakes. I don't mind that. But is it really a value for you? That's the question. Is it really providing you that feedback? Is it providing you with that sort of learning that you need essentially to pass this exam? I don't think so.
And I agree on that. And I will add on to that, Dr. Rizwan. So to other students, I actually tell them, you only need to watch this class once. Don't watch it more, only once. Do the lecture, watch the class, and then study the notes, study of the resources, study the lecture slides. Don't waste time. It's too much. That's one time that you have to watch it. So even if you have it there and you are just piling up on classes thinking, oh, I'm just going to watch it later. No, that's a really bad strategy. You should just do the live session, sit there, listen to it, and then review later on the materials.
Absolutely, yeah. 100%. I wish I had such a course when I was doing my MCQ and fellowship exam for that matter, honestly.
100%.
Like the technology has been so much good, and we are now making it more streamlined. So we are now moving to a different platform in which it's much more intuitive, it's much more reliable. The flow is much more seamless to our current workflow. So you will definitely enjoy. We can create subgroups in that, but I don't want you to be overwhelmed. I just want that platform to be available there for your notes, the MCQ, and the videos. So no problems there. Now, what I'll do is that I'm certainly sure that you will have questions and queries, but I'll get Dr. Laura to start on her spiel, because I think she's got a presentation ready for today in terms of highlighting some of the current flavors and content. So Laura, when you're ready, I'll get you to set up, and I think you can share the screen. That's not a problem. Yep. I'll tell you.
I'll share it.
But good to see you all. And look, it's always a good exercise to come to these orientation sessions so you get a proper feel. And we did a session last time, Laura, if you remember as well. And we got a proper feel. And please don't take it personally that we limit the number of participants. We have got no prejudices. It's just that we want to provide a service which is, it's not like a lecture hall. It's like a group circle. So don't take it personally. If you missed out, you can always register for the next course or something like that. But it is for the benefit of everyone. We want you to purely, again, it is very easy to open up a registration to 30, 40, 100 people. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We want real value for you to learn and pass this exam, because as I said, we want to be a part of your journey. And it's just a tremendous feedback when you will start sending. And I'm pretty sure, Laura, more than 99% people will pass this exam through this first batch. I'm 100% sure.
They will, and they are so well prepared. I mean, Dr. Singh and Dr. Mujib, they are excellent. And the progression as well, since the beginning until the end, it's fantastic. I mean, and the mock tests that we provide are very high. Like those are hardcore mock tests, but that they are meant to be like that.
Yeah.
Because the final idea is for them to go to the exam and feel like, oh, it's not as hard as I thought.
Exactly.
So that is exactly what they need. And I'm pretty sure they will be able to get through it with no problem.
All right, I'll let Dr. Laura start. I'll keep on adding people and participants as they're coming on. And if there's any question, put in the chat box. I'll keep on responding. And we'll have a little Q&A at the end. All right.
Awesome.
Off you go,
Very
Dr. Laura.
good. Great. So another thing that I just wanted to add on is that we want the groups to be small because I am very, very close to my students. And they can tell us, like, I talk to them every single day. They have the option to do one-on-one mentorship sessions. I did one with one of our students the other day. They, even after the exam, they have us. Even after the course, they have us, they have our support all the way through their careers. It's Emergency Focus is not just this online academy, it's a whole organization to prepare professionals from around the world to be able to succeed in Australia. And we are in that first part of it. So just saying this, I actually want to tell you why, what the AMC is. And as Dr. Rizwan said, the AMC MCQ is such a great exam to do because after you pass it, then you can access it straight away into the workforce. So you can start working, okay? So I'm just gonna give you a very quick, like less than a minute summary. We have a full YouTube explaining the whole pathway, how to do EPIC accounts and everything, and it's in our Emergency Focus YouTube channel, okay? So the AMC MCQ exam is an MCQ exam in which a computer.
I think Dr. Laura might be having some trouble with her video. Laura, do you want to just close your, Laura, your video was holding up a little bit, but you're back on fine. I'll let you know.
I'm back on fine.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So good. Did you hear the first part I said about the AMC MCQ?
Absolutely. You said that this is the one of the only exams which will tap you into a job market.
Awesome. So the AMC MCQ, it's a computer adaptive test exam. This means that there is a computer there that will select different questions for you. And one of the tricks is that you do the exam, you might feel that you have done a great job, but you actually fail miserably. And it is because you haven't been able to reach the level of difficulty for each question. So if you can only answer simple questions in the exam and then fail the difficult ones, the computer will back you up into a simple question with lower points. So you won't reach your 250 points. So the exam in total is 3.5 hours and you have to answer 150 questions. You have to complete all of the items correctly. So you need to complete all of them. If not, you'll fail. Even if you've done a great job, if you don't finish answering all of them, you will fail. Okay, and the AMC is divided by different subjects. So you got your medicine, your surgery, obs and gynae, your peds, mental health, and population health. In population health, you have topics like, well, subjects like biostatistics, epidemiology, Australian population health as well, and ethics as well. All of them have to be focused on Australia because they do change a lot from the United States. Then the score is 250 to pass, and overall the maximum score is 500. Okay, this is super important. So very important points, very quick ones. There are no negative markings. These 30 questions will be pilot. We are not sure if this is still happening, but I think it is still, but the AMC hasn't released any official answer about these ones. The questions will be randomly selected, and then you need to actually be able to pass all of those simple questions. And remember, once you answer one question, you cannot go back. So you don't have time to review your exam. That's a change that was implemented in 2001. Okay, great. Let's have a look at the statistics. This is where everyone gets depressed, right? But actually I have it's actually not too bad. So the exam has a probability for you to pass in the exam of 50, well, it's actually 46%, sorry. It has dropped down because the exam is getting a little bit more difficult nowadays. But let's think that overall you have a 50% chance of passing the exam. So this 50% chance will lead us to my tip number 1 for the AMC MCQ. My tip number 1, and I just want you guys to remember that 50% chance, or last year 46% chance of passing, okay? Just remember that number. So the majority of people will approach the AMC1 or the AMC MCQ as this terrible, horrible exam that you have to do. It is very difficult, no one understands, and then you just get it done and you survive the process. A lot of people do prepare just focusing on recalls and having a really bad theory background, but they pass. Why? Because you got a 50% chance of passing. So you're gonna get a lot of massive amount of people that are gonna pass that exam with not a good prep, but they will pass. Okay, so that will happen. But I need to explain to you what happens after that. So this is something I call the AMC cycle, not to say the AMC broken cycle, I will call it AMC broken cycle. So you pass your AMC exam, right? You've passed it, great. You have spent in your preparation on your own, you can have 2. So you can have people that have done it in 2-3 months and pass. Of course, we got a 50% chance of passing. And then you got people that prepare for a really long time, a year plus. And then you pass the exam. So what happens next? You start doing job applications. And you see that after job application, you are not able to get any interviews, right? So job applications sent, now job applications sent, nothing. And this is so common. I mean, the majority of people do 100+ job applications,
yep.
Which I think is absolutely, it's not a good strategy. You have to do your job applications correctly, have a good background, knowledge, know what you're doing, and then apply for a few like I did. I only applied for 5 and I got 3 job offers. So you just have to try to do quality job applications. But of course, everything comes back into how good you are clinically, because the job applications, you actually have to fulfill criteria that require your understanding of the Australian system. If you just prepare on recalls, you're just gonna do a really bad job there. So imagine that you just done 100+, you got better with each of the applications and you got an interview. What is happening now? That took you around 6 months. Okay, we are going into the year period since you started your AMC MCQ. But what happens next? Interviews, you do an interview and then no one calls you back. Why? Because in the interviews, guys, and I don't know, I'm sure you know this because it's the same in your countries, you have a clinical question. You got behavioral questions. You need to know exactly what to do in the interview, in a medical Australian-based interview, but you also have to be able to, sorry, let me mute. You also have to be able to answer that clinical question correctly. If you just study by recalls and read John Murtagh, that's not gonna get you to answer that clinical interview correctly. So what happened? People keeps getting interviews. Yeah, great, you got to that stage, but then failing. No one is calling you back. And this has taken you another 6 months. So if you're wondering why people get stuck in this AMC broken cycle for so many years, it's because there is an essential problem at the start of the process. So imagine that now, what you're gonna do. You said, okay, I'm not getting interviews. So I'm just gonna go for my clinical exam, right? I'll go for the clinical exam. And now what happens? That actually you fail clinical exam once. And then, and people say, oh my God, the clinical exam has such a humongous failure rate. Yeah, it's huge. But one of the problems is because people are not well prepared. They don't have the good theory knowledge, the good understanding of the Australian system to be able to do well in the clinical. So they pay another $5,000 of 3 point something thousand dollars at the moment, and they fail again, and they fail again. And overall, in a standard way, the clinical exam is done from 2 to 3 times before someone can actually pass it. Okay, imagine that you pass it. Okay, now let's think about the next level. So I've done my interview, no one got me, but I did my clinical exams. Then I got an interview, or I didn't do clinicals, but I ended up having a good interview and I did well and I got a job offer, right? So now I got a job. Great. I got a job. I went through the hurdles. It could potentially have taken me 2+ years, or I was lucky enough because I have a good CV from my country, and there are different tips and tricks that we can give you about that as well. And then you got a job in less than 6 months or in a year time, but you had a really bad prep. So what is going to happen then? That you're going to have a very, very tough experience at the beginning of your career here. And when I say a very tough experience in your first job, I'm saying that this is Australia. You're dealing with Australian and with patients. So you are going to be really, really stressed because you're not confident with your clinical management. Your team will be very, very unhappy with you because you are not going to be the safe doctor you said you were in your interview. Okay, you're going to potentially put patients at risk. And we don't want that. That's why we're doing this whole process. So the best way, and why is this? That's a question. Why is this happening? Why am I seeing a lot of people in different Facebook forums saying, oh my God, I got my first job. I'm crying every day. I don't know what to do. I'm really struggling. I don't know how to be an RMO. I can't understand anything and I'm doing. It's because your foundation was wrong. Because you spend all of this time first in your preparation and then through the whole process in the wrong way because you didn't start it properly. Okay, so what I want you guys to see now, this is the longest part of my presentation, but I think is the most important, is change your approach towards the AMC MCQ. The AMC MCQ is not this horrible exam that will take you through the most horrible times in your life. It is actually a time in which you're gonna prepare yourself properly for the rest of your career in Australia. And it needs to be good enough, wide enough to be able to support the rest of your pathway. So see the AMC as the foundation, okay, of your career. So that is very important. Change your approach and make sure you prepare really, really well. Okay.
I'll just
go for it.
you tip to. So I think the points that you've raised, Dr. Laura, they are just so accurate. I cannot describe that. And the cycle that you've put it's just amazing. So based your strategy in terms of passing the exam rate by just going the recalls, you're actually doing yourself a disservice. You are looking at short-term goals, but compromising huge gains in terms of long-term. So that, as Laura exactly said, you're not getting shortlisted for an interview because the application form responses are not in tune with your communication skills. That is failure number one. You're not getting successful in the interview because none of which you have prepared for is actually making sense with the clinical workflow that you've done in previous life. It's just not made those connections. Those synapses don't exist. And finally, if you end up having a job offer, then trust me, I'm working as a consultant right now with about 7 to 8 IMGs who are in their first job in emergency department. And it's just mind-boggling to see even very senior doctors struggling. And you know, it's not their fault. It's some short-term gains that they looked for and they may have compromised. And I'm not saying that all of them are like that. Maybe they've got a different strategy or maybe they've got different issues. But what I'm trying to highlight is that if you put effort at every step, MCQ exam, the recruitment process, the clinical exam, trust me, when you get a job, you'll be a star performer. And I want each one of you to hit that goal. When you want to have a surgical job, why not? Like, honestly, I've answered 20 emails this morning. Can I get into ophthalmology? Can I get into, cardiology? Yes, you can. I'm working with IMGs who are cardiology, who are working in neurosurgeons, consultant now. You can do anything what you want, but you have to lay those foundations from the very beginning. So recall approach, fine. You take that approach for short-term gains, but you're giving yourself a huge disservice in terms of long-term. And it's about quality. Whenever you do something, you have to ask yourself that fundamental question: why am I doing that? Why am I doing this exam? Is it because that I just want to pass this exam, that it will make me automatically qualified for a job? Not really. You want to learn those skills by doing that very well. So the next step is actually easier. Be it a job application, be it a clinical, you want your next step to be easier. You don't want to be against a climb or a ramp or a steep, which is getting harder and harder as you progress on. And trust me, after AMC part 1, you will be in a situation where there are, 70% of the applications for any given job are from AMC part 1 people only. Okay. But only few people get shortlisted for an interview. So you have to do that hard work to make that next process easier for you. That comes from quality. That comes from talking. That comes from switching on your cameras and learning the hard routes there right now. And when you do that, and Dr. Laura is just going to highlight some of the foundations, trust me, every step of the way, it becomes much, much easier. Much easier. Go, Dr. Laura.
I agree 100%. That's exactly it. And how important is to also to have good guidance from doctors that have gone through the process, and they are at different levels in their professional career. So here you have that, and through the clinical as well course, you'll be able to have access to all of these tutors, not just Dr. Rizwan, which is at the top, but all these tutors that gone through it. So you have to learn how we approach, how we talk to the patients. What do they want from us? It's not that hard. It's just that you have to, you need to play the right notes to be able to do a good job. And this will translate later on in your practice every day. And that's extremely important, because I'm one of those RMOs at the ED department, not at Dr. Rizwan's hospitals, but at my own hospital. And I'm so happy that I got the foundation that I have, because that has helped me a lot. I'm a safe doctor and I'm happy what I'm doing, and it's thanks to that. So that's why we want to transmit this, and we created such an amazing course, so full with all of the important guidelines from Australia and the approach that you need, and also to change the mindset of our students, motivate them, give them positivity. So that's what we are all about. Okay, so tip number 2, I got 4 tips. So tip number 2 will be your preparation. So again, we got a whole YouTube video about preparation, in which I actually speak about every single book and every single guideline that it's out there. But I'm just gonna give you an overview, and I just wanna actually break this a myth, okay, that it's out there. So, but first, let me just give you my overall approach. So this is my general approach. It can work for you, it cannot. That's why in our course, we have that one-on-one mentorship section, so you can actually talk to me, talk to us, and create a nice study plan for you. But in general, you should take between 4 to 6 months to prepare for this exam. And you can take it in less time if you have a good background knowledge. And if you have time to study, okay? You should study between 4 to 6 hours a day. And in the last part of your prep, that has to be higher. Okay, important, give yourself time to rest. That's super important, because you need at least 1 day off during the week. And the support. So you need to try to tell everyone, family, friends, that you're actually preparing for this exam, and you have to allocate times. If you are working and if you have children, you can do it. We've got so many doctors that have done it. the majority of people have works and children that are doing this exam, and they get through it. But you really need to put a lot of commitment and determination in it. A tip: book the exam. You know, once you reach that and you have collected all the money that you need to pay the exam, it will be actually really good if you book it. Remember that you can actually change the date a month before. So if you feel that you still have half of your topics to go through, and this is more focused on people that are actually not joining our course and they actually want to study by themselves, I would recommend you guys to actually book your exam. You can always change the date, but that gives you the extra pressure that you need. Okay, and do not study alone. Get study partners, a study group, especially if you don't have guidance, you're doing it by yourself. Make sure you surround yourself with other students, other doctors going through the same thing. But what are the two, and I said them before, two most important qualities that you have to have: commitment and determination. And that will take you through your whole pathway. You have to be committed to study, you have to be committed to get this done and to get through all of the steps in the process, do it well, and determined to get it actually done. So those two, commitment and determination, just mark them there in yourself, and that is super important for you. My other tip for prep is to have a study plan. If you're doing this by yourself, get a study plan from Google Times Table. I love it. Just put there and make sure you every day you allocate yourself for time to study your theory and to do your preps and to watch YouTube videos or whatever you're using to prep. For our students, we offer the whole study plan. This will be actually more thorough from this March group, but all our students have access to it. And we just help them specifically to know what they have to follow, and especially through our timetable as well. We do all of that for them. Now, John Murtag's myth. Oh, everyone, when you are online, if you ask a question, how can I prepare for the AMC MCQ? You'll have like 10 people saying, read John Murtag, read John Murtag. Oh, that is wrong. That was the tendency in the past, many, many years ago. There has been a massive change in the last 10 years to now. And there is a big change in the last 5 years to now. So the AMC, you cannot just read John Murtag. And I'm telling you why. Why? Because John Murtag doesn't have obstetrics. John Murtag doesn't have surgery. It doesn't have biostatistics or ethics. John Murtag is very good for your prevention medicine part. John Murtag is really good for a gyne part, and an orthopedic part is quite good as well. And all the rest, it will give you a very little background knowledge. So it's not enough. Now, oh yeah, but I know a lot of people that have passed with just reading John Murtag and doing recalls. Yeah, of course, they have a 50% chance of passing. No matter what they do, that's it. Okay, they can get lucky there, but it's not enough. So that's why there are so many books and guidelines available. These are, again, highlighted in that book, in that YouTube video about the books that I talked about before. But for example, if you want to do the ethics part, the Australian Medical Legal Handbook is very good. If you are not preparing with a course and you don't know where to start with medicine, you can use your Kaplan books as well and Oxford books. Your Murtag, of course, you can have a look at a few of the topics there are pretty good, etc. For pediatrics, you got the RCH handbook. For gyne, you could use Lewley Jones' book, but just to read, so you got a background, but it's actually not gonna give you the answers for the exam. So even if you read this book entirely, you will fail the gyne and obs part for sure, because it's just to give you a background of knowledge. Okay. And then super important resources, ETG, it has a very high subscription fee. I think it's $300 and something a year. Then you got your UpToDate. These two are essential for the preparation of the AMC MCQ right now. Why? Because the AMC is changing their approach as well. So they are going from a very clinically oriented GP way that they did in the past to a more medical, surgical, detailed. And now the last addition is this extra basic science knowledge like USMLE step 1. So you'll find a few questions similar to USMLE Step 1 in the exam now that everyone is getting wrong. So it's actually evolving. So you can actually have a look. MedBullets is very good, but same, it will give you a lot of answers that are based in the United States, and they are very, very wrong for Australia. So you need to be really careful when you use that one. And then you got your Q banks. There are like millions of Q banks at the moment. The most well-known are Amedex and M+. Canada Bank is not that good. It's actually not that good for the AMC, only the psychiatric and the orthopedics part. Amedex and M+ are pretty good. Both of them, I don't have a preference. I think they are good for your preparation to practice. And then you got a lot of guidelines, which have to be the core, like actually not, the guidelines should be the base and the support of your preparation, because they are actually Australian guidelines, and there are so many. Have I made this up? No, I've used them during my entire preparation. Our students use it, and they can see through those guidelines where they can actually find the answers from all of these questions in many Q banks, in the handbook, and in like multiple recalls that might come up. But the AMC, the Australian Medical Council, has a booklet. They released the last one last year in January, and they actually tell you to use those resources. So they're actually telling you, hey, get ETG, get this, get that, and those resources are there as well. So these are also AMC official resources, and these are the ones that we use, okay, for our course. Now, tip 3. So my tip number 3 is recalls. So do I actually have to go through recalls? What are recalls? A lot of people don't even know what recalls are, especially if you're starting. Well, recalls are these strange questions half done that you'll find online from unknown sources that they say that they've done the exams, and they just put whatever they remember there. Now, you could use recalls if you want to aim your study. Recalls are good to know which topics I have to study, and that's it. Recalls are not good to spend 700 hours trying to solve a very badly written question with not proper options. It's not good for practice because they are too short. So you might be practicing a lot of recalls documents, but those are not actually completed. So when you get to the exam, you take a very long time to answer the questions in the exam because they have whole stems, you have to read a lot, and they are completed. So you get a massive shock. Okay, so they are good, but really not essential. They are good for as guidance and practice. And the AMC, the Medical Council, actually, they know about recalls. Okay, this is in their booklet. I'm surprised no one has seen this before. And we are the first ones actually showing this. They know, they are like, hey guys, yeah, we got them. We got them all. Because we can also create fake accounts and get in your AMC related Facebook groups and Telegram. So they do have them, but they are saying we went through them and they are not well written. They are not similar to our questions, and they are wrong. The majority of the times they have the correct answer is the wrong answer. So you cannot rely on this. It's not me saying it, it's actually AMC saying it. What you need to rely on is in good preparation. Learn the topics, be a good doctor. Just do that. Get through the guidelines, really learn how Australia works, depending on the subjects, on the presentations and clinical cases. Go
and
for it.
I'll just make one point here in terms of recalls in particular. Recalls are nothing new, and not just for AMC MCQ exam, AMC clinical, even the fellowship exam and membership exams throughout the world. Now, they are badly written, and some of them may be written very well. And I'll give you a story, a personal story. When I was doing my emergency fellowship exam, that is Australasian College of Emergency Medicine Fellowship exam, FACEM. I went and did my exam, and they put you in quarantine. So obviously it's of a very high standard exam in which all the candidates gone into quarantine so that they don't discuss the cases. I'm talking about the OSCE exam at that stage. So I came out to my hotel, and by about, I think 15-20 minutes, there was another close friend of mine who asked me, oh, Rizwan, can you please tell me what ECG you had? And I said to him that, look, and he's a very close friend of mine. Okay, he said, oh, what ECGs did you have? What cases do you have? Can you just quickly run me through that? And I said, I cannot share this information. It's actually a disservice to you. He said, just tell me if you're not my good friend. I said, honestly, I'm not sure if you've been put in that spot when you've got a friend who's been with you for all those years and it put you in the spot. So I said, okay, fine, whatever. I won't give you any nitty gritty detail, but I'll tell you the framework. These are the roughly about anything. So if AMC or, Australasian College of Emergency Medicine are listening to me, they're probably going to say, Rizwan, your fellowship is off now because you breached the contract. So I said, okay, this is the framework. Anyway, he went that and he called me. Oh, Rizwan, you told me that this was coming. My ECG was not on inferior STEMI. It was on anterolateral STEMI. And my questions were not like anything like that. They tweak the response. And if I'm telling you something which is based on my experience and you say that thing, it is a double whammy against you. Because first of all, you're going to get that wrong. And plus they're going to realize that he has actually shared this information from a morning group or from the group from the previous day. So he's actually cheated. So you're just going to confirm there in terms of an OSCE that you're actually a cheating candidate. Same goes for the written exam. The college has got a huge bank. These are professional exam takers. They've got a huge bank. Okay, they can easily create a variation between different exams. So once you volunteer that, oh, I know this question, I've seen this a million times. This option is, this question might have been tweaked. And you're going to click deliberately thinking that you've done it right, but you're actually clicking the wrong response because they've tweaked the answer based on the new response or being slight tweaking of the question. There's a new answer now. And you wouldn't be able to recognize that because you are so ingrained with that recall that you just don't see that coming. Anyway, I'll let you.
100%. And it is like that, especially with this exam. They have here a lot of questions and they change so you might see it's the same question, but it's actually they're asking you for something completely different. So in one, they might be asking for diagnosis, and the other one, they might be asking for treatment, or in one, they're asking for one step in the diagnostic pathway, and the other, the second or the next step. So that's why you need to really know what you're doing. Just have a good prep, like get a good theory knowledge, and that's it. It's not that complicated. So regarding Q banks, so we went through recalls and now Q banks. Are Q banks good? Look, I actually like Q banks. They are done and based on different recalls, but these people have spent a lot of time there, writing them and making them look good for you. And it's not too bad. They are not the same questions as you will get in the exam. They are different, of course, but it's a good training. And the Q banks help you to practice your knowledge. But the most important thing is you have to do a MCQ training, just multiple choice question training. That means that when you have to do mock tests, you have to time yourself. It's super important because you've done all of this theory prep by yourself and you haven't gotten any training for how to approach MCQs. So you get to the exam and you don't have the chance not even to complete the exam because you are too slow. So you need to time yourself and you need to start doing that. And very carefully learn how to read those questions, but only spend maximum a minute per question. Now you can spend a little bit more because you don't have option to review, but I'll say 1 minute it's enough because some questions are very short and some questions are more difficult and very long. So you might need 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes even for some questions. So if you just pace yourself to the minute point, you'll be really good. You need to learn how to, during that time frame, do a fast deduction of the questions and the option exclusion as well. And the other point is that you actually need to train yourself to be sitting in the same position for 3.5 hours and answer 150 questions. So these Q banks can help you, especially if you're doing your prep by yourself with no other Q banks, okay? Or mock test. So that is super important. And it's another of the very good tips that I could give you. Now, the last tip that I got is what to do the 2 weeks prior your exam. So you book your exam, you're in the middle of almost at the end of your prep, and your exam, it's gonna be very, very soon. So what to do though during those last two weeks? You have to go through your revision notes. Okay, your revision notes are very important per topic. Just practice mock test, practice, practice, practice. You should read the handbook at least one. This is at least, sorry, no, at least one, okay? And last time, yeah, one last time, okay, one last time. And make sure you sleep well. Don't do like me. When I went to my exam, I didn't sleep anything. I was like a zombie. And in the middle of the exam, I was so bored. I was like, oh my God, I'm bored. I can't focus. This is too long. And it was because I was really tired. And I even took a break in the exam. But I am not a good example to follow. Yeah, I took a break in the middle of the exam. I stand up, went outside, had to do all of those checks, double checks, and then came back because I just couldn't focus any longer. So you should sleep well, okay? And very important. So those 3 things are the most important. Just do revision of your notes, practice mock tests all the time, and read the handbook at least once. And the last thing is, imagine that you're gonna do this exam and everyone is extremely stressed about it, right? We are super stressed because it's kind of our future, no? Your mind starts saying, oh my God, it's my future and it's everything. And I have put so much money into it. And you build up inside of you all this pressure and all of this anxiety that at the end of the day, it's only going to make you fail. Even if you have all the knowledge that you need, you will fail because you were too stressed out. So one of the techniques that I do recommend to do, and this is my personal choice, so you can use it or not, up to you, is to think, okay, I have put this money aside and it's gone. It's gone. That's it. You've done it, you paid, it's gone. And you can even take it a step further. You can say, the exam, I failed already. And this is in your preparation. That exam is doomed, it's failed. I failed the exam, my money is gone. Now, what do I have to do? Oh, wow, I still got time. I'm preparing for my exam actually, for an exam that I already failed. But what you can think is just change your perspective into every day, every topic that I learned, every question that I do, every class that I go to, every lecture that I listen to, it's one step closer to actually pass, to get those over 250 points. So you're just adding on top, adding and increasing that probability for you to pass the exam. But just get it. And if you take the load off all of that auto-criticism out, it will be much better for you once you reach the exam. Because if you're super nervous and super stressed, it's such a pity, all the preparation you've done, just to waste all of that in that moment because you are not focused correctly and approaching this in the correct way. And that's the other thing, and Dr. Rizwan can tell you, no one cares if you failed the exam. Who cares? We don't ask each other, oh, how many times you failed the exam? And when we're doing interviews, we don't ask people like, Dr. Mujib, you have failed the exam 7 times. Oh yeah, and everyone in Australia will be talking about this doctor. Oh, no one cares. No one knows about you. And this exam, it does not define you as a doctor. It's not a definitive point in which it's testing you in how good of a clinician you are, how much care you put in your patients. No, it is only testing you on a specific type of knowledge. You have to follow specific tricks and focus on specific things that the Australian Medical Council likes. And at the end of the day, it will only be good for you because you're going to become a much better doctor after that. And not a much better doctor in your country, but a much better doctor, more equipped for Australia, which is why you're doing that exam. So that is my last tip out of this.
I'll ask some
Okay.
questions
Mhm.
on behalf of everyone. So there's the first question who's been asked by Dr. Poe is that, hi, doctor, read the handbook. Do you mean the handbook that you are going to provide, or which handbook is that?
Okay, so the handbook is the blue book. So there
Okay.
is a book called the Handbook of AMC, and it's the official MCQ based book that Australian Medical Council provides.
Now, the next comment has been made by someone: failing would make the gap longer. Wouldn't they ask why we were doing this gap? I'll answer this question. Yes, absolutely. Failing will make the gap longer. And those of you who are actually in Australia and cannot practice, there are several ways of addressing this issue. One of the most paramount ways is to complete and fulfill the recency requirement, because if the recency requirement are not fulfilled, you're not going to get the registration, even if you pass the exam. So remember that. Number two is that you have to engage in CPD activities. So after you've done this course, and there's so many different ways and so many free ways of doing that, and so many other productive ways of doing in person. And thank God the COVID is over now, and we're opening up to all sorts of courses now. So attend the courses, mingle, network, and you'd be able to fulfill that gap. And don't tell yourself that you're going to fail. I partially agree with Laura, and I partially don't. Don't tell yourself. She's given you an extreme worst form of disaster strategy, but that's fine if that's your mindset. I always believe that, look, I'm going to pass this exam, even if, whatever it takes. So if you believe in yourself that I'm going to pass this exam, you will pass this exam. If you believe in yourself and you tell yourself that I'm going to become a cardiologist in Australia in 7 years' time, you will become it. The first realization and the first, emphasis is you telling yourself, I can do it. Yes, on the back of the mind, Laura is absolutely right. You may have that, fear that what if that happens? But the point that she's trying to make is that with that fear, you use that fear to your advantage to step up your game. You don't stay there down low. You say, oh, look, I've still got time. I still got my resources. Why don't I make the best out of it? So have that positive approach throughout. The next question is, will it be enough to read all the resources which course provide, which we are providing? That was my question, which I've listed actually, Dr. Laura. So we have talked about ETG, up-to-date books, and QBanks.
Yes.
And what about our resources in the course?
We offer everything. Like
So you got everything.
We got everything. Yeah, they don't have to get any subscriptions. They don't have to get any books. They don't have to get anything. We not only offer all the guidelines from ETG, from everything, all the guidelines that they need from up-to-date ETG. We also give them the books, but not only that, we'll tell them specifically which part of the book, and we just cut it and provide it to them. And then we have our lecture notes or the lecture slides as well, that are really, in the majority of the cases, everything they actually need, because we actually have summarized the guidelines into that. But for extra preparation, we provide a lot. Like we provide everything that they need and more. We do mock tests. They got everything
Perfect.
and more, to be honest.
Yeah. And this is more important because, there's so much overwhelming amount of information resource available. You can get confused.
Yeah.
So you need that pinpoint and focused, element from each of those resources to complement your study. Otherwise, you'll be lost. You'll be reading one guideline and then, oh, that is even more important, and there's even more updated. So yes, that's a good point.
Yes. And Dr. Rizwan, I just would like to, before we go, I actually want to show them.
There's some questions as well. Yes. So we'll just go through the question.
Can I just go? Let's go through the questions. Yes. But before we go, I want to show them like a quick video.
The portal. Yeah. Perfect.
Of the portal and the,
no, I've got that in my mind.
And all of that. Okay. Awesome.
So how long does the course run for, and what is the start and end date?
So the course runs for 12 to 14 weeks. Hopefully this one will be 12 weeks, but in our previous course, we had the actual full course on 14 weeks. We are our approach is pretty much to give you all the classes that you want. We have a full set of so many, more than 46 sessions, a lot of video classes for very difficult topics as well. And and this course will start the 20th of March as well.
And how long can we access the materials and notes for the participant who joined the course?
Great. So if your course is going to be 12 weeks, then once you finish your course, you have 4 more weeks to catch up of access with the portal. That's normally the standard everywhere. Okay,
right.
so we give you 4 extra so you can catch up.
Okay. Now the question is that, hi, good day to everyone. Would like to inquire, would it be sufficient and good for basic foundation if I do AMEDX question bank twice and go through the AMC handbook twice prior to the exam?
Now, good foundation, no. You won't have good foundation just by doing the MCQ bank, to be honest. And going through the handbook, no. Because the handbook and the MCQ ones are just questions. And they are testing you about one thing. So in one topic, you can be asked about diagnosis, but then if you don't read about the whole topic, you don't know what will be the investigation pathway. You won't know what the treatment is. You won't know what specific characteristics are. So you're gonna be lacking a lot. Now, as an extremely, it can work for you, but you should go through your own revision notes, I'll say, yeah.
Now, the other question which I sort of missed at that point was that what if somebody's starting from scratch and they don't have time to start the course now? Would this course be available later in the year as well?
Yeah, the course will continue running. Yeah, the course will continue running.
And
yeah.
if you go to the website emergencyfocus.net, we announce one course at a time. And I think we should try make an effort of announcing at least 2. We'll look into that. Me and Laura will have a chat. And other point in terms of subscription and access to the notes and material, I know that Dr. Laura and I have been very conscious about the fact that we want to keep the material available for 4 weeks, because then we want to update it with the new material, the fresh resources. But if you have got an exam, we won't cut you off. Okay, you will always have an access to it. So if your 4 weeks registration is up and gone. No, it's not gonna work. You will have the support. So all you've got to do, send your email, send your issue that, look, I've got my exam, I'm accessing the course. If you're solely reliant on our resources, I think it would be unethical of you to cut you off. So we'll keep you on board.
Yeah.
Till your exam, till you're learning. So don't use that 4 week as a yardstick. It is just a guide, but it is always flexible in terms of your personal circumstances.
Exactly. You just have to let us know. And that's what we're doing with a couple of our students that are doing the exam very soon. I gave them all of the notes, access to all of the slides before even the lectures were happening, because they are preparing at a faster pace, and also all of our study notes as well. So apart from everything, we also have these study notes that I made as well during my prep, and all of that is for them. Everything is there available. Yeah.
Now, there's some question about the timetable. How many classes and what time of the classes? Because I work full time, would it be good to know the class timing if it's possible?
Yeah. So normally we try to keep the classes after hours. There's normally 3 classes. There are normally 3 classes per week. That's a Monday, Friday, and Saturday. And it goes normally like from 6 to 9, from 7 to 10. But sometimes we change them. So depending on our tutors, because all of our tutors are actually working doctors or about to get their reg. So sometimes we change, but that would be your basic, your more general standard time. 3 times a week,
3
after hours.
3 times per week, morely 2.5 to 3 hours per class. We will be updating timetable. Dr. Laura and I are working on it, and it will be uploaded and the links would be sent. In fact, we will make it available on our website. So whoever's registering, they can have a look at the entire timetable to make a decision. I think because that's going to help, and we're working on it, and the whole timetable will come at least from the first week point of view. There's some other questions as well. Questions are coming in. What would be the class timing? We've covered it. I have an experience 3 years as a GP overseas. I'm still confused if I need AMC or fellow to go through specialist registration. Can you please answer your opinion? I'm Australian citizen looking for advice through AMC and APRA, and hard to say if I should know through this course. So look, without having a look at the credentials, I don't like answering chatting questions, because it does not really highlight you in a good way. You might be a very experienced GP with the proper credentials, which may qualify for a specialist recognition in terms of being a GP. But it might be something that your GP experience is not equivalent. So I think if you want to have it more geared to you, please send me an email. We can book an appointment and do a proper session where I can have a look at your CV and provide you with a correct guidance rather than just a quick word. No one size fits all.
Yeah, exactly.
And Dr. Laura is pulling up some screen to give you a peek to our portal while I'll answer the question. How's the outcome after doing your course? I mean, how many approved the exam after preparing themselves with the course? Please. All right.
Well,
This
one,
is
yes, one of them have already passed, which is great. And the rest of our students, we're just waiting on them as well. Give me 1 second, Doc. I'm just gonna scroll through
okay.
these.
Okay, sure.
Pretty much, about our course, I just wanted you guys to know that all of our tutors, it's not just Dr. Rizwan and myself, like we have like around 7 tutors working. They are all already working in Australian doctors, all IMGs, or doctors that are waiting for the registration and about to start working. And we got 1 doctor working in medical research. Okay, we cover so many, it's more than 500 topics. We cover absolutely everything that you need and more. And we give you absolutely all the support materials and everything that you need. The other important thing is that you'll have full support, guidance, mentorship, closeness with us. Like, we are there to help you, which is the most important thing. We also have a Facebook group, and I'm sorry, there is someone there with the mics on. And our messenger group as well. So you'll have access to these. We'll help you to get your study groups going. And we also tell our students that they can, if they're, because of course recalls are there and they will come up. They can always post those recalls, and we help them to answer them. Because for me, it takes me like 2 seconds to have a look at the recall, and I already know which recall is, if it's old, if it's new, and the answer. And it might take you a long time to do it. So if you post it in the messenger group that we have, I'm happy to help you. All our tutors are happy to also help you with solving. So let's have a look. Okay, so this is all talking, but we actually have the course. It's really good. This is our old
Platform,
student portal. Yeah, we are going to change these to a different student portal. But for example, we have ENT. Here we give all of the guidelines and specific guidelines from different Australian sources that we need you guys to read, which are the very important ones for the exam. Then you have access to all of the lecture slides, and you can also make them really big so that fit your whole screen. On that part, you'll have the actual lecture recording. So you guys, yes, if you are working, if you have children, if you cannot attend the live session all the time, you can always watch the recordings afterwards. That's an example of our lecture slides. So we do big theory, then we go through questions, and we add everything that we need. And if we scroll down, you see we're covering each and every single topic, and it all follows the same format. Okay, so that is our great student portal. Then this is an example of the mini mock test. So we have big mock test, but this is just an example of the last one we did. It's pediatrics. So it will come up, you got the question, you have to answer and keep moving forward, because it's kind of similar to the exam. At the end, when you finish all of the questions, then you will get a whole setup of feedback. Of course, we got the images and we got everything there. So it's very similar. So these mock tests will help you. They are very tough, okay? They are hard, but they are meant to be like that to teach you specifically, okay? This is an example of our lifetime table. Okay, it's an example. So it is not the one that you guys, especially the new students from March that have already enrolled. It's not the same one, but it's an example of how the timetable looks. Okay, and you want to have a look at the lecture slides. Yes, they are great. We give you all the content. It's exactly like that. This is exactly how
these
the
like
classes
full
are.
notes, really. They're really like full notes.
Yeah, the lecture slides are the notes. Are the best notes they can have. Everything that is in, for example, in yellow, those are questions for the AMC MCQ, more possible questions that might come up. We also we have full access to teaching for complete anatomy and all the videos. So when we are teaching every single part of orthopedics, neuro, we have all of these 3D models that we go through them during our classes as well. So yeah, it's fantastic. So this is an example. We will add everything that you need, not only the anatomy, but also the CTs. And this is just a quick example of how one class looks like. So that's me there at the top. We have 7 tutors, but that's me there at the top talking. This is one of the orthopedic classes. And we're just going through the class. We got questions, we got the x-rays, and so on. We
I like the
also,
way that you've highlighted so that, you know, they can
Yeah.
focus on the things out of all of these things, right?
exactly. So exactly, if you see there, just there, here, we got all of the info, but really, for the AMC MCQ tips that we need, click sound, locking of the knee, those are the things that I need to
Wonderful.
focus on, swelling per hours, etc. Sorry, I just moved it. But apart from that, for example, the knee is such a difficult thing to give, but we included all of the videos for the examination from Physiopedia.
Mhm.
And this makes a lot of sense because in the questions for the exam, they actually give you a description
Mhm.
of these specific tests. So if you don't see how the tests are done, then it's very difficult for you to answer the question. So we give you that as well.
Yeah.
And then for the clinical exam, then you're ready, all ready, because it's pretty much what you need to do.
And I remember, Laura, we were
yeah.
talking about it. Sorry to cut you short.
No worries.
We were talking about when we started all that, look, what can we make, what can we achieve over the next few months to have the #1 course? And we thought, okay, fine, we'll have a course which covers everything. We'll have a course which is tailor-made specifically to passing the AMC MCQ exam with all the resources available, so they don't have to go anywhere. So it will cover everything. It will have all the resources. And I think me and Laura were talking about, shall we release the video? Would it discourage the participants? Remember that discussion, Laura?
Yeah, yes.
Would it discourage the participants to attend the live sessions? Because we were so live heavy, and Laura loves live interaction in terms of all the participants, which is a very good way of learning. So we should not provide video. And we said, no, in order to become, you know, competitive in the market, we need to have a course which covers every component. And by golly, even having the live sessions in addition to the videos are there, but the live interaction attendance is also good. Excellent from that point of view. So I think as we approach the finishing of our first maiden course, we have been able to achieve that to 99% of what we thought we will achieve. And hats off to Laura. It's all her effort. She has come up with a beautiful resource. I think, to be honest, looking at all the courses from other resources, this is #1. No spelling mistake, correct in terms of graphics, in terms of videos, in terms of resources, putting you out there, keeping it close. As I said, I've got nothing against me and Laura. I've got nothing against number of participants, but we want to take you in small chunks so that we can really provide that one-on-one attention to all the participants. It's easy for me and Laura to fill the class up with 50 participants, but that's not going to do anybody a service. We want you to ask questions, interact, and, you know, feel that, you know, you are learning from it every class. It's not just throwing things at your face and say, okay, learn this and learn that. So I think from that point of view, I'm quite happy that we've been able to achieve that. So please, yes, everything that if you need any further information, Dr. Gabriela Slovicki, thank you, Dr. Rizwan, please, can I have contact info? Contact info is info@emergencyfocus.net. All questions, email, queries can come through directly from there. Sorry, but I want to confirm, how long will we have access to material after the course finishes? As I said, and Dr. Laura's said that we don't restrict you access, especially if your exam is close. It all vary from individual to individual basis. You send us an email after the course finishes and we'll be able to adjust it according to your specific needs.
Yes.
Right.
Let me just have a look here 1 second. So I got, what is the fee, please? So the fee.
And there's one question, is all tutors teaching will use the same format as Dr. Laura showed? Absolutely. The whole course has been built by Laura, and it's been quality checked.
It's all the same.
It's all the same. So that
it's all the same. They have to make sure our tutors receive training sessions. They're actually going to have another very important training session, not just on content, because they are all doctors and they are fantastic, but also on how to speak more freely and to make the classes really enjoyable. But they are great. They follow the same thing. It's all the same. It's all the same. Great. So I just wanted to, guys, quickly, especially for our students that have already enrolled. So I want to make sure we clarify this. So the March course officially will start on the 20th of March. Okay, but we have a study program. Okay, we have a study program. That means that this time we want our students to be prepared for our course because it's necessary. So from tomorrow, so today is an orientation day. We're giving you an overview of everything, of the AMC questions, etc. in this session. But from tomorrow, our students will receive all the materials that I need them to go through per subject before the course starts. So they have a few days, okay, a couple of weeks and a half before the actual first lecture, so they can be ready for what comes next. Okay, because it's a great course. It has a lot of theory, everything that you need, but you need to be ready. So the better prepare for it, the better. So from tomorrow, you'll get all the preparation materials, all of the students that have already enrolled. The first lecture will be on the 20th of March. So if you do want to enroll, as I said, we still are taking more students, but we will close as soon as we reach our number. We will stop that. So
we're already 50%, Laura.
Yeah.
So
we will stop that. So if you do want to join us, I would recommend you to just make the decision the sooner the better. So you can start with us, you can get in contact with us, and I can give you all those materials before the first class starts. You have access to our student portal, student Google Drive, Facebook group, Messenger group, and that's all of these will be given to you on that week after the first lecture, all of the accesses, okay? And yes, and as we said, all lecture recordings will be available throughout the course, but if you send us an email, then we'll just give you access depending on your cases, as Dr. Rizwan said. Okay, and I think that's it.
That's it. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Laura.
No
And anybody, if you have any questions just before we stop the session, please ask the question. Or we'll just stop the session. I will upload the video on the YouTube emergencyfocus.net page. So you can please, inform the fee from Rabia. Please inform the fee. The fee is, Laura, how can you please highlight that?
So the fee is 1,600 in total, but you can pay in 2 installments, once at the beginning of the course and then the other one halfway in the course. Now, remember that this is an Australian-based course. It's really good quality. It's actually the best quality that you can get. And normally out there, for a course not even as good as ours, not even as close and supportive as ours, you will pay $3,000, $4,000 plus dollars. Okay, so we actually kept it to the minimum in our possibilities. Okay, so it's really good. It's a really good fee. And apart from that, I think Dr. Rizwan, I think Dr. Mujib, would you like to say anything? I think you are unmuted.
Yes. Yes. Actually, this course is amazing. And before joining, I had like a lot of questions like, will I be able to read all the topics? And I wasn't having touch with the subject. So I was having a lot of questions. And then once I joined the course, it was like, boom, amazing. And it was, obviously you have put in a lot of hard work, and there was the slides, the quality of the slides, teaching, tutors, everything is amazing.
I'm glad to learn that. No, I completely agree with you, Madhavan. The way I've seen things just evolve so rapidly. And there's been inquiries from everywhere, Laura, like everywhere around the world. Honestly, people, yes. So please look out. We'd be glad to have you on board and help you be part of our ecosystem, not just from the AMC MCQ point of view, but rest of your career needs. Immediately, I want you to jump on the portals and apply for jobs. The job portal is opening up, recruitment starting in August. So please, engage with us, be a part of our big family, which is now a global family. And let's take you on board one step at a time so we can make it happen. And I think we are in a pretty good space right now in terms of all you doctors who are permanent resident, who are temporary resident, who are in their country, who are here onshore in Australia. This is the time to make that move. It's not going to last long, maybe another couple of years, maybe another year or 18 months, but right now is the time.
100%. completely agree.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you,
We'll
everyone.
end here. Thank you.
Great to meet you all.
Bye.